So the other thing that the guidelines are very clear on is that you may need to use a specialist, and you need to take the search strategy very seriously. And a very important point is to get your terminology right. And therefore, you really need to think very carefully on how you use synonyms. Now, the manufacturer, the pharmaceutical company, may have a synonym list for their device, or you can use Embase, also has excellent synonym lists in its thesaurus. And in Dialog, we also have a feature where you can click a button and include medical synonyms. So here we've included medical synonyms, and the search box is already automatically pre-populated with all the medical synonyms for the device that we wanted to search on. So that's something very, very important. If you don't use synonyms, you will be missing references. And then I mentioned Thesauri. Both Medline and Embase have excellent Thesauri. And this is an example from the Embase thesaurus, which goes one step further than Medline, and they actually have a device tab. So here I'm searching on eczema lasers. If I clicked here in the thesaurus, I would get the synonyms, or I could use the Dialog synonyms, and then they would work across all databases. And then you can say, well, actually, yeah, medical devices, but I want to put it into context. I actually just want this search to be a device comparison search, or I just want this search to look at clinical trials of medical devices. So Embase has very nicely put together some what we call subheadings or topics to narrow your search. So you could be searching for eczema lasers, but if you click this tab here, you've immediately narrowed the search to just searches about adverse device effects for eczema lasers. And you can look at the scope note to see how Elsevier, Embase have arrived at that device. And it just means that you don't have to, it means that somebody has looked at all the references and indexed them for any words that suggest the theme of adverse effects device comparisons. So very important to sit down and be exhaustive in terms of planning your strategy. So when you use the medical synonyms on Dialog, I just put in the search term. So I wanted to search on eczema lasers, click on include medical synonyms, and there they are. And another reason they're important are they're accurate, and not all databases have Thesauri. So Medline and Embase probably have the best Thesauri, but many others don't, or their Thesauri just aren't as comprehensive. And the Dialog medical synonyms come from a curated list selected from a variety of specialist sources and taxonomies, and they're kept up to date. And the medical synonyms are nicely added to your search. So again, no cutting and pasting and less margin for error, human error. I mentioned the indexing in Medline and Embase, and Embase really has gone to town on this. So if we look at eczema laser, they've indexed it to adverse device effect plus medical device complication. And on top of that, if you need to narrow the search further, you can say that one of the terms need to have major emphasis, is more important than the others. So this is a marvelous way to demonstrate that you're being comprehensive and vigilant in your search strategy. Another plus that Embase has, and they obviously have worked very hard to be one of the preferred sources for medical device searching, is the trade name field. Medline tends never to really go there with trade names. It's not a commercially oriented database. Embase is commercially orientated. So here we can see an example for a Japanese a catheter manufactured by Philips in the Netherlands, and that's the trade name, by Siemens in Japan with this trade name, and by Spectranetics in the US with this trade name. So really, really valuable information that Elsevier has provided in Embase by actually looking at the full text of every article, synthesizing the data, and putting all of the salient information into its indexing fields for you to be able to search on. And as you can see, these are hyperlinked. So say you were doing a search and wanted to find out more information about the Turbo Elite catheter specifically, maybe you're doing a comparison search, you can click on there and the hyperlink will translate itself to a search term. Embase also has a special focus on medical devices in its hierarchical thesaurus. So you can see here that I have clicked on medical devices, and it really is very granular, and you can choose very specifically and find the medical device that you're interested in. And it's categorized in 27 broad subjects in the thesaurus function on Dialog. And in addition, we have the device subheadings that I've already shown you. So Embase can really guide your strategy and be a good founding stone for your strategy. And then you can expand the strategy into Medline and the other databases using free text and the synonyms. And then this is an example here where it bears out the difference between Medline and Embase for manufacturer and trade name searching. So I searched for Medtronic in Medline and Embase in the last 12 months. And using only Medline, I got 3,905 hits. And using Embase, I got 7,175. So just pointing to the fact that, as I say, Embase has a more comprehensive recall. It's more commercially orientated than is Medline.